Fastna inte bara på ett mål. Fastna på andra mål, olika. Du vet, vi kommer alltid ha distraktioner. Kolla vad som händer i det här landet. Inflationen, det här, varje år det händer någonting. Skjutningar. Nästa år vi kommer ha, det blir val igen i Sverige. Vilket hela det här landet väntar på. För folk har inte blivit nöjda sistone hur det pågår i det här landet. Men det är så här, utifrån vad som sker runt omkring det här landet. Du måste ha själv ditt eget mål. Och det är jätteviktigt. Man kommer till en viss tid just nu som jag och du, vi är 40 år nu.
It's the Don Doctor Show, like and subscribe. It's the Don Doctor Show, like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Don Doctor Show. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into this. I have a very, very special guest today. My Aki. Welcome, my brother.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having
Elmi
me.
to the Don Doctor Show.
Thanks for having me, bro.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come and do this.
That's normal.
Love, man, love. Okay, we're going to be speaking about a few topics that actually have been really, really on my mind, actually. Obviously, we're living in Sweden, but we're also living in Europe.
Obviously, yeah.
And it's very difficult to actually live and survive in Europe right now because of everything that has been happening, the cost of living and stuff like that. There's so many wars that are happening around the world. And all of this has affected normal everyday people. And it's very difficult to survive in Europe these days. Can we talk about why people are leaving Europe and going back to their home countries?
We can start first by talking more about our roots, where we're from beginning, how we all started, let's say. As for me, as an instance, I came to Sweden when I was like 8 years of age. Let's say like almost 31 years I'm in this country, So knowing more about Africa, about myself, my roots when I came, I knew already where I was born and everything, but I was like still a child, still wanted to learn. So when I came here, luckily when I started like in grade school now, lågstadiet, like we say here, standard 3. So for me, I'm Somali, but...
Grundskolan is like, for the English speaking, it's like school.
School, fast it's like grundskolan, it's like lågstadiet och sen finns mellanstadiet och sen finns högstadiet. So it's like lågstadiet, you start like from standard 1 to 3, and then mellanstadiet from 4 to 6, I think, and then 7 högstadiet då. So myself,
college and university.
College and university. But you have different system, which I'm going to tell more about it. We're going to talk more about it because I started with my education in Kenya, so it was easier for me when I came here. I already knew English when I was that age, actually, because everything you learn in English. So you have Swahili itself as a language that you speak, but here the difference between here and Sweden is like you learn everything in Swedish, and then you have English itself as a subject itself, its own though. So it became easier for me. When you're young, it's easy to learn new languages, as I say, So kind of picked up quite easily. And because I already went to school in Kenya, in Nairobi, so I was above when it comes to mathematics, certain stuff, but when it comes to language itself, I was that good. My English, it was easy for me, So
you had it easier with English.
I had it easier.
How was it growing up in Kenya?
When I was...
What year are we talking?
We're talking about from 85 to 90, 86, to 95. I came to Sweden in 6.
Okay.
So that time it was a bit hard, but same time, if you talk about Kenya itself, since independence, I think 1962, and our first president, which was Jomo Kenyatta. So it wasn't that much war, but there's always tribal wars, but it wasn't that much. So if you talk about Africa itself, every time election, there's always
problem conflict, like
people dying. So me, myself, as I remember, my family, and as Somalis in Kenya, it was a bit hard,
Because there's a lot of Somalians that go from Somalia, and obviously it's quite close from Kenya to Somalia, right?
If you talk more about the history right now, when it comes to Eastern Africa, when we talk about Somalia itself, after colonization, because Somalia was the only country that could cut off their own map. Other countries in Africa, they were made by the colonizers. Exactly. But for Somalia, we had like a greater view, because we wanted to have because if you see Somalia itself, we have like, it's like a star on 5 points and then blue. So so each five represents a place. Let's say like, if you see Somaliland, it's a one, Puntland, and then you have like Djibouti, and then you have like Ogaden, which is the Ethiopian part, and then you have as well in Kenya, which is the NDF, then Northern District Front. So Somalia belong to, there are people who are indigenous to both Kenya and Ethiopia, who are Somalis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's why you see most of Somalians who are in Kenya, they're actually born there and they have heritage in past.
They speak the language, they grow up with the culture and everything there.
But after colonization, once it's such, let's say, divide and conquer, as we know. So it became like they tried to split us.
They turn everything upside down.
So for me, as I grew up, I remember it was like more into like, let's say like, if you see Kenya itself, there's a lot of tribes. We speak like more than 20 languages.
Oh, wow.
But we have Swahili itself as English as an official language, and then Swahili. That's what most people communicate with.
Okay.
So it was more for me adventurous, but I could see already since I was a kid, before I came, how hard it was in Africa, living, family, the hunger, the poverty. So I already saw it. So once I came to Sweden, because it was a bit shock for me, I was a kid, everything was new, everything was like beautiful for me. First time me myself seeing snow, it's like, wow. I remember cold,
clean.
But I didn't think much of the cold, I was like more into knowing new surrounding,
I think 95, 96, the first mobiles came out a couple years before that, if I'm not too right. I think,
but if you talk about
91, 92 or something like that.
But if you talk about the war in Somalia civil war started around 1991. Before that, 80s, 70s, Somalia used to be good. They used to say like Somalia used to be the Switzerland of Africa, actually. So if you talk about Somalia, due to the time of colonization, we helped a lot of countries. Same time that we had our own issue. Let's say like Zambia, Botswana, we sent about pilots, we educated some. And if you talk about myself as a Somalian, because when I came to Sweden, I got lost a bit. So it's like new cultures, and then it became easier for me. I believe Yvonne made the hard debate. So I became a bit more European. I forgot about my culture. I even forgot the language itself, so Kiswahili then.
Oh, wow.
So I forgot about it. So, the time when I grew up here in Sweden, 97, 96, it was very good time.
Different times here than it is today, right?
Than we're living right now. On this generation there right now, it's like, that time we came from a time that me and you remember.
Things were cheaper.
Not only cheaper, we came with the time when the digital system started with the phones and stuff, we had like them Nokias.
So the big Nokia, the big Ericssons and stuff.
So we had like
StarTAC, Motorola and
something
stuff.
that we had our time is like, we had more like, let's say like imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. More time outside, more time playing in the park, climbing trees, playing with stones, just being outside and in the nature, something that the kids nowadays, they don't really know. They don't know. They just know technology and being on their phones all the time.
It's like forcing them, me and you, we already did as we talk, we know already, we know each other.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard because the thing is that it's like right now we're living in a system that everything is like more robot, It's like you wake up, prepare the kids, take them to school, go to work. Come back, pick them up. So you end up, because our
in the system after that.
And right now, when it comes to that time as that we are right now, it's the system making it harder. Because when I was young, I remember we had a bit more freedom on ourselves. The parents had freedom with their kids. They could talk to their kids. They had more time with them. But right now, you don't even have time. And then when it comes to social people and everything, it's been more harder, for us foreigners, as we know in this country. Sweden itself, if you talk about Sweden, we always had racism. Before, when I grew up, you could see them live. But right now, it's like they're more like...
Undercover
more right now. So they came more...
They're not so open like...
så det right now, om du ser själv som nu jämfört med innan de kunde sinnas med, de hade ju demonstrationer. Det var en tid vid 97-98 till och med när vi kunde inte vara vissa tider i stan. Till och med me and you, we're from Gothenburg, there's a place called Torslanda. No foreigner could live there that time.
Wow, alltså jag kom till Sverige i 2007. Så den tiden som du berättar för mig nu faktiskt spännande och intressant på grund av att jag hade ingen aning hur det var förut. Du vet.
Det var faktiskt bra.
Jag var i London och vi hade vårt eget problem där i London. Jag är från Storbritannien, London, så det är annorlunda. Men alltså, kan du berätta mig?
Nej, alltså vid 98-2000 så började det ändras lite här i det här landet då. Because I remember there's a time here in Gothenburg we had like a club. A lot of people died there. 1998, you remember about that?
Yes.
That was my time actually.
God bless. So many people lost their lives.
So it was sad though, but the thing is that after that, that's when you saw how Sweden started changing, because that time we used to fight each other. There wasn't a lot of. We used to have like people used to have like betong, butterfly knife. You know what I mean? In the ghetto, because the thing is that if you see this country itself, how it was like the white people, the Swedish people, let's say, like they live on a certain place. We foreigners live in a certain place, So it was like more segregated, So it's like.
Was that the way that the government kind of done it here in Sweden? Was that? Because I'm a foreigner here, even though I've been here for like nearly 20 years, I still feel like a foreigner. Do you think that was part of the Swedish government to put kind of foreigners in certain areas? For example, like Angered, Bergsjön, Hisingen, the Biskops or såna grejer. So is that like part of the government's? Because most foreigners are concentrated in these areas, and then if you look into kind of other areas that,
you know why they're concentrating about it? It's because of that time in Sweden when I used to live there. They never thought, jag kan bara förklara på svenska, de kunde inte se mig framåt på grund av att de hade inte det problemet då. Förstår du vad jag menar? Den tiden, det var individuellt. Hur du själv som pappa, mamma, som föräldrar, hur du vill att dina barn ska uppfostras. För jag själv, I remember when we came to Sweden first time, we used to live in Hjällbo. So from Hjällbo, within 3 months, we moved there, we came to Hisingen. So we came to a place where it's like you find different kind of foreigners, but not that much. So it was like more mixed. Then after what happened in 98, that's when my father saw the situation. I thought to myself, you know what, let me move my kids to a better place. So we moved to Tuve. So I remember when I moved to Tuve in 98, I remember the whole place, you could see there were like black families, 3 of us. And who was of them kids, who was the oldest? I was the oldest. So it was a bit tough for me, but I had to toughen up because hearing too much nigger words. You hear in another language, like in Turkish, what they say, like
trigger warning for those of you that
the N-word, and then you find in Arab they say in another way. So I used to hear a lot, but for me myself, I know who I am. I'm Somali, I'm African. I know, okay, we've been through colonization since that time, because I remember when I was 16, 17, I was more focused into books, love to read more books, by myself. Because by the age of 17, 18, 2000, 98, everything starts changing here in Sweden. So you start seeing 2000, more drugs coming in. In the ghetto, when I used to live, let's say in the urban areas, when I used to live, you didn't see a lot drugs, people smoking weed and all that. People are hiding. People are doing stuff like...
But now it's different, especially with the young boys,
But now if you see like the street, så själva gatan är fylld, de har ju, de hämtar ju, så gränsen är ju mer, det Sverige, vi ligger ju mycket efter. Man tänker samma sak med bostäder, grejer. Det är någonting som inte har planerat.
Absolut.
Sen efter 2000 hände det mycket krig. Det började hända. Folk började komma med, invandrare började komma med här.
På grund av olika krig som hände jorden runt. Vi fått med...
Så mer kom. Så när det mer kom så vad de gjorde var att de skulle ha kunnat åtminstone have like a, let's say like at least once you're here, at least you need to go through certain phases for you to at least integrate more to the society. So that time they didn't put a lot, but you had like some family members, let's say like Somali's moms. I remember when I grew up, they used to do that. They want to learn, but they didn't have that much knowledge how to get information. That's what they lacked.
They lacked the knowledge, you know.
Yeah. So I can't say like I'm blessed. I have a father who was educated, who went through a lot, who came with me. I came with my mom. My mom went back like 96, 97. She had to go and be with her mom. So for me, it was like hard for me, not having a mom here. Is like, wow, my mom left me. But I never understood the situation until it happened to me when I went first time to Africa. After I came to Sweden, that's when I saw life. That's when I saw how situation is, and I learned a lot, you know. And the thing is that here in Sweden, you don't beat kids here. You know what I mean? Even
sorry to stop you, but I mean, back in the 80s, when I grew up in London, you could beat your kids. As long as it doesn't leave a mark where it can show. If it's somewhere, you know, maybe on your legs or somewhere where it doesn't, you know, where it doesn't show properly, you could beat your kids. Not beat them silly.
No, not beat them, but mark them in a way, you know.
You can, you know, I mean, if your child is doing something stupid, you can take care and control, you know what I mean, everything in your house. But of course, more and more, I don't know if it's due to the more education that we've got or what, but, you know, the state has taken away the power. I mean, this is all in Europe. I mean, London, UK is Europe.
Nowadays, you can't even say nothing to your kid.
You can't say anything. You can't do
talk to
anything.
your kids. As long as your kid says something.
If you say something to your child, they say, I'm going to report you.
No. But my time, when I grew up, when I was young, you know, when I came to Sweden and I saw, because when I went to school, I used to see some Swedish guys I used to be friends with. I used to be in their house, and I used to see how they used to yell on their mother.
I used to see that too in London.
And
they used to tell their mom, fuck off.
No.
They say, Mom, their mom will call them and say, it's time to eat, you know, Mom, fuck off.
But when
I'll be like, oh my God, like, because I would never ever say that to my mom. Like, I know my mom would have given me a good box in my face. You understand? So how they did things and how we did things were totally different.
So I remember what I wanted to say was like, for me, I'm not talking about more beating, but it's like more showing that person, is that kid, okay, I'm your father, I'm this, you know what I mean? You have to respect me and talk in a different way. So my father, when I was here, he was very, very cautious with me, you know. I was a bit more rebellious, but it was because my mom left me, you know. I didn't understand.
Did you get beat?
Then. Actually, not much, you know. But when I went to Africa, he mocked me, actually. First day when we came, he mocked me. I'll never forget about that, you know. But he mocked me in a good way.
Yeah.
He made me wake up.
Yeah.
He told me what you did in Sweden. Remember, boy, we're here right now. I'm the man here right now. So if you don't like it, here you can go. I didn't know nothing about Africa at that time because I was young, and then we moved from Nairobi, came to Mombasa. So it opened my eyes. But one thing about love, what happened to me, because I stayed actually there for 1 year. 1 year I stayed there. My mom even told me, you know what, you're not going back. You're going to stay with me here. You need to know about your roots. There's something called like community rehabilitation. Like we say in Somali, something called Dakan Ellis. That's what it's meaning of it, yeah. But it really helped me actually. But the thing is that that time I went to my mom. So what my mom did for me was within that year, first weekend I was there, she enrolled me to a school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I went to school. Then after school, I have something called like, we have like a madrasa, like Quran school. I went there after school. So it's like you're waking up 5 in the morning. By 6 in the morning, you're out. 6:30, you're starting school until 5 o'clock. Once you're done 5 o'clock, you come home, rest, and then you go to, it's like Quran school, you know. So I go there, by 8 I'm home. I'm doing my homework, I'm sleeping. By Saturday and Sunday, my mom used to have a shop. Go there, make myself busy. Because I remember the school that I went with, something that until now is in my head. And I actually giving some to my younger generation. It's something more my headmaster told me, and actually stick to me until now. You know, he told me something like, "An idle-minded is a devil's workshop." You know, the more you idle, the more you come up with something.
Absolutely.
So because he saw me how I was, because
too much time doing nothing, doing stupidness, you know, you're not focused.
I wasn't focused.
I hear you.
And when I was there, I had friends there, you know, in Africa, you know what I mean? When I was in Kenya, in Mombasa though. So I saw a lot of things there, you know. So it really opened my eyes. I saw the poverty there. I see the, let's say like, jag kan säga det på svenska, jag såg det som jag har här i Sverige. Jag är inte tacksam för det jag har. För när man åker där, folk som inte har någonting, du vet, de går i skolan med mig, ibland de kan inte betala school fees. Because when I went there that time, and it used to be education, it became free. Because when I was when I grew up in Kenya, before I came to Sweden, we used to pay school. That was the time of the president, Daniel Arap Moi. So the school used to be paid, you know. So after the Kibaki came, so the president after he came, so he changed everything. So the school became free, you know. But my mom took me to a private school, so she paid for me. So it helped me a lot, a lot. Mostly what helped me was more like a discipline. That's what I needed. But when I came back to Sweden, I got shocked. I saw people that grew up with, people start shooting each other, people start biting each other. You know what I mean? Then, okay, become more religious right now, you know, you become more age, you know what I mean? Once you have kids, you come in more. So there's a saying that we say in our religion, you know, through our Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. It's like when you live in a place and it's like you see it's hard for you, sometimes it's good to leave that place. So when I came from Africa after a year, I went to school, but I started seeing people looking, people trying to mark me. And I saw this situation, guns becoming more here in Sweden in 2001. And I saw this situation, I couldn't handle it. I was running, I had girls, people were jealous. I mean, I was a bit popular before. When I came back, I was a bit rebellious, but when I came back, they saw me, I'm more calmer. So I wanted to change.
Sometimes it's good to come out of the environment for a bit and then, you know, come back again. You have a different perspective because your mind has changed and you've had the chance to kind of see life from a different perspective. So I always think that it's good sometimes if, and this is for you young people, that, you know, if you're doing stupid stuff, making mistakes, running with gangs, running after women, having a different woman every day and stuff like that, sometimes it's good just to slow it down. You understand? Slow it down, take it easy, you know, take yourself out of the environment for a bit and then come back again and see how you can do better. So, yeah.
So anyway, so when I came back and I saw the situation, I finished actually my högstadiet. Once I've done my högstadiet, I was 17 first time when I went to, 16 first time when I went to Kenya. So I was gone for 1 year. So once I came back, I had to
redo everything again that you had missed.
And instead I was supposed to be in like second, gymnasium second. So I went back to 1. Just to catch up. But luckily, because I went to education in Africa was more theory. Here is like more practical. You do some stuff on the papers, they show you more. But Africa, you don't have that privilege. But it helped me a lot.
So you were a little more advanced than the people that were here because of the education. I hear that about back home, actually, especially in the Caribbean as well and Africa, that, you know, the kids there are more advanced in terms of how they study and with the maths and English and stuff like that because, you know, they do it a different way. And
the system is different because we have like in Kenya, we have like the 844 system. You have like, I think, 933 system. So it's different, you know. So, and in Africa, the study I went through, I learned more about African history, about more Pan-Africanism, more about.
Are you a Pan-Africanist?
Pan-Africanism itself. If you talk about Pan-Africanism,
Dr. Umar.
if you see most of them leaders who are there, who are more Pan-African, most of them studied actually in Western world. So they're trying to change the view that we had in Africa. So what I believe or I don't believe when it comes to
What do you think about Dr. Umar?
I can't say much, but the thing is that he's too loud.
Do you agree with him and the stuff he's saying about,
I can say he's too loud.
Snow bunnies and...
He's too loud. Certain things, we live in a time right now where people just talk without thinking, Sometimes you need to pick up yourself, Så du måste kunna veta vad du pratar om. För allt som du pratar om, som du lägger på interneten, it's gonna be there, You're gonna have your kids, you're gonna have people oh, my dad, oh, my cousin. They don't think like much like what I've been through, As an African myself, I'm thinking like certain things I can do, but I prefer hiding it than showing it to the world, you know what I mean?
But does it make it right? I mean, Dr. Umar, and I don't want to stick on Dr. Umar, but Dr. Umar's whole thing is about we should be proud that we come from Africa, and as a black man, you should never have a white woman, and I don't agree with him. Obviously, I don't agree with him, but I am definitely I love my black queens. You know what I mean? And, I support them, And, I feel like, there's nothing wrong to be proud of being a Pan-Africanist, being proud of where you come from, being proud of your skin color, being proud of your history, what we've achieved, Africa as a whole is a big continent, and we've done a lot throughout the thousands and thousands of years that we've, been on this planet. So I definitely think that we should be proud of our heritage and where we come from. But at the end of the day, everyone can love who they want to love, And, Dr. Umar is a little bit, he's tough. He's very militant when it comes to that. He says if you're a black man, you should go have a black queen.
What I believe when it comes to himself, Dr. Umar, now my own opinion when it comes to him is like he needs to get more information. He needs to understand what he's saying before he even speaks about it. What I mean is like, talking about as Africa itself or as a black man itself, you have to think about more wider. Let's say like, for an example, let's say we have like black British, we have like Caribbeans, we have like Asian blacks as well, But the thing is that they know already where the root comes from. But the thing is that you have to understand as well, Africa is diverse, Africa is big. We have different tribes, different cultures.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So for you to
imagine in Ethiopia, there's like, I don't know, like maybe, I don't even know. I don't know. I think maybe more than like 30, 40, 50, 60 tribes or something like that. And that's Ethiopia. That's Ethiopia. Only in Ethiopia you have that many tribes. It's mad.
I think about West Africa, I think about North Africa, I think about all down to South now. For me, let me tell you what I've learned through Africa.
Shout out to Ethiopia.
How I used to see how we Africans, how we are. It's like we're categorized into different, let's say like different phases. Like, for example, like we have like the Bantus, and then we have like the Nilotics, and then we have like the Cushitic people. So if you're talking about more like the Bantus people, they're like more farmers. You know what I mean? If you talk about Nilotic, you have like two Nilotic people. You have the River Lake Nilotics, and then you have the plain Nilotics. I give you an example of plain Nilotics. You have like Maasais, they're Nilotic. They're like Kalenjin, the president right now of Kenya right now. He's a Kalenjin. I'm talking about Nilotic, like River Lake Nilotics, they're fishermen. Nilotics, plain Nilotics, they're more like herders. You know what I mean? They like more, they like Cushitic as well. They like roaming around with their buskop, someone say with their herd. Yeah. So you see from different places where you're from. So you become that, you know what I mean? So let's say like for instance, us Somalis, we Cushitic. We've always been Cushitic. We have a history, let's say like very long past history. I'm talking about since Pharaoh time. I'm from a place called Puntland. itself. So if you see where my lineage, I'm from a lineage where we like from sultanates, from kings. That's my lineage to my father. Because we Africans, we follow through our fathers. Like we Somalis, you have like this. My second name gonna be my daddy's name. So it's like I can count until up to more than a dozen of my grandfather's name. But once I marry a woman, it's throughout Islam itself. Once I marry a woman, she's gonna keep her name, her daddy's name. But when it comes to the kids, they're gonna go through my name.
So
but she's gonna have that heritage.
Your family,
yeah. Okay. But she's gonna have that heritage, but through her family, so she's gonna still have it. So we, as you know, we as Somalis, our woman, we empower them. The strong woman, very strong woman. We have like a woman. What's her name again? Asli Hassaneton Abad. She was the first female pilot in Africa, actually. Oh, wow. So her story kind of reminds me of my sisters, how they are as Somalis. It's like when we want something, we do it. So she wanted to be a pilot. So she went and talked to the president of that time, President Siad Barre, and asked, I want to do this and this. He neglected her. Oh, wow. So you know what she did? If you don't want, I'm going to go to Europe, I'm going to go this and this. You either do that for me or this, I'm going to do that. And you know what? She got that.
Wow.
Yeah, she got that. She became the first female pilot.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we have we empower women. All women are strong, but we have a culture as we Somalis, that we don't change our culture regardless. We as we are. So if you see wherever you go in this world, if you see a Somali woman, how she dresses, she's a Somali. So we didn't force them. For them, they love that life. It's in them.
Some people, just to push back on you, Aki, some people will say that certain women that wear the hijab are repressed. That even though they're wearing the hijab at times, that they're still behaving in a bad way or whatever, or that certain women, even though they're wearing the hijab, they're being forced to wear the hijab from their husband or something like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts and feelings about that?
I can make it easier for you. You're from England, yeah? UK. By the Victorian time, 1800 times, how do this used to wear?
Respectful, like long dresses.
They even have a scarf as well in the head,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
hats, respectful.
So time to time, it changes due to, how it is, I don't really say much, So if you see lately, when it comes to my religion itself, Islam, it's been attacked in a wrongful way due to lack of education. We live in a time right now, in a gamma time, where you have right now I can Google it, I can go to Wikipedia, I can write whatever I want to write. I'm going to get that information.
You have everything.
But we have som man säger här på svenska, vi har envisa människor. Folk som har kunnat få den.
Jealous people in English.
För mig det är inte avundsjuka. För mig det handlar om folk som har haft den kulturen som har fått från förfäder. Och de har kunnat ha den där beteendet. Så det blir svårt att ändra på det. Men nu om man tänker på de folket, vi just nu, våran generation, 40-årsåldern, vad vi gått igenom, vi har sett mycket. Men de som var lite äldre än oss, 50-åringar, det var de som reste mycket i andra världsdelar. De kunde se mycket. Men du vet, folk som inte har rest mycket, som fastnar i samma cirkel, det blir svårt att veta. För vi bor i ett land där allting som sägs på TV, tror vi att det är sant. Men nu börjar vi svenskarna, alltså vi här i Sverige, vi börjar vakna till. På grund av att vi vet ju redan hur allting through First World War, Second World War, how through all wars been through this world. It's through propaganda, through talking, saying this, which is not this, just to gain. So we live that time right now,
Okay, cool. If we look at the cost of living right now in Europe, and like we started off in the beginning talking about, why do you think people are leaving Europe and going back to their home countries? The cost of living right now, things are very, very expensive. We talked about inflation. We talked about, the financial stresses that are pushing people out and forcing people to go back to their home countries before they're 60 years old.
Do you know why actually? Because of, if you see, we didn't talk much why people are moving from this country. Because of, if you see, when it comes to certain you know, when it comes to certain things that people, government want to enforce on people, we live in a time, though, actually I can say we live in an ignorant time. People don't want to, they just want to live on the, I mean, they don't want to, eller hur ska jag förklara? De vill inte säga det som pågår i landet. Folk är blinda. Förstår du vad jag menar? Varför folk lämnar det här landet eller lämnar Europa. Eller jag har folk som jag känner som lämnar USA, till och med Kanada, som flyttar tillbaka till hemlandet. De är trötta på grund av att de blir kontrollerade här. Det hör ju det som har hänt nu med vad de har lagt på Al Jazeera. Det som pågår här i Sverige, hur de tar barnen, hur det är. Ja, det händer inte bara här i Sverige, det händer i England, det händer, du vet, de har ju kunnat empower kvinnor på ett felaktigt sätt. Så nu börjar de inse, it's too much. Right now, look what's happening right now when it comes to UK. What happened to the past, the High Court, when it comes to a woman is a woman as long as she's biologically, she's a woman when it comes. I don't want to come much into, I don't want to come into pride and all that, but I'm from here and I grew up here. One thing I believe in is one thing. I respect you regardless of where you are or who you want to be. But one thing that som jag tänker, gör det du gör själv, gör det enskild. Du behöver inte visa det öppet, du behöver inte komma och tvinga mig till detta. Men tyvärr, vi lever i en tid just nu där de tvingar på oss.
Absolutely.
You go to Africa and you see BBC, when you see the one in CNN, and they're sitting there, they're talking to some African president. Why are you not passing bill? Why is this? We give you, sen på bordet, $30 million. Pass the law, we're going to give it to you. So it's hard. So right now, if I say about Africa itself, people are awake right now. And you see what's happening right now because of the war and everything. So it's like more, we already know how life is, how this world works.
It's tough in Europe. It's tough. It's not like before.
But it's tough.
It's very, very tough.
You know what?
England is more tougher than to survive and live than here in Sweden. England is more tougher.
But let's say
you can work and get your little £1,800, and I say little, no disrespect, but I mean, you know, you have your rent to pay, and your rent, and I'm talking about like maybe a studio apartment, you know, studio flat, you're paying like, you know, £1,100, £1,200. You understand?
I lived in UK.
For a studio flat.
I lived in UK.
Do you know what, with that amount of money, what you can get in Sweden?
I know. I lived my time. I remember when I was in UK one time. I used to live like 2002. When I moved here, due to what I saw, I had to move. I moved to UK, so I was in London, let's say, like for less than a year. The situation how it was, I had to move, so I moved to Bristol. So I was there for like a couple of years.
Bristol's calm.
A couple of years, but that time there was more opportunity in England. Actually, for real. I could have worked 2 jobs. I was studying on the side. I was liquor traveling. I had my good time there. But once I saw it after 2009, the world, själva världskrisen, det som hände, everything, that's when you start, du börjar se inflationen börjar komma. Det här börjar komma. Så det här is like, om man tänker på det mer eliterna som kontrollerar oss. One thing I respect about French people is like, if something like happening and the government wants to change,
they don't care. They go to the streets.
Everybody go to the streets. They lock up everything.
Mash up the cars, mash up the shops.
UK, when did they start doing it? Recently.
Yeah.
Recently, you know what's happening right now there. Eh? They start right now demonstrating, they start saying stuff, they're tired of the Prime Minister, this and this. But they're not that loud. Because you have to be loud for you to change. And unfortunately, we live in Sweden, we don't even demonstrate. You know, the last time when I said demonstrations, what's happened right now because of Palestine. That's what you see.
Yeah, you're right.
But before, not that much.
You're right.
Yeah?
You're right, actually.
Certain big things that involve this country, you should do them demonstration.
Well, power is in the people and politics we address. You know what I mean? But the thing is that these days people are so scared to do things, and nobody wants to be the first person to do it.
That's why people are moving. Even forget about we moving as we Africans want to move back to Africa. I'm actually planning to move back to Africa, but I can't move because me and you, we have
willing. We have responsibility.
We have responsibility.
Yeah, man.
So once the responsibility is there and we know the kids, they're going good, school done, this and this, that's where you can plan slowly and slowly. And what we're doing for me, what I'm right now building, I'm doing for
Doing
Africa.
the seeds and everything.
It's not for me.
I understand.
It's not for me, it's for them.
Yeah.
At least for them to have something. If anything happened, they know they can move there.
Absolutely.
So that's why I actually encourage everybody who's like a foreigner in this country to actually do something back home.
Start the seeds. Start planning now what you have to do. And I had an interview with Juliet, who's the CEO and founder of Blexit. And she does so much for Africans. She's actually living in Gambia. She's from London, but yeah, she's living, has her businesses and everything set up in Gambia, and she's doing so much. She's doing so much.
I understand. I've
She's
seen a
doing
lot of
so
Kenya.
much. So you know what I mean. And she does a lot of things for people, and she's still doing things. And you know, we need more people like Juliet. Go and check out her channel. It's called Blexit, and go and check out what she's doing, guys. She's doing so much for Africa and for the repatriation of land and everything else like that. And she's calling people to come back home. She's saying that it's not too late.
I'm telling you, sometimes when I go back home, I see how they're living. Even though they don't have much, but I actually envy them. I'm telling you, they're living a happy life, brother.
Yeah.
You know how we live here in Europe?
We ain't living life, huh?
We ain't living no life, brother. You know that.
It's not living life.
We worked yesterday, we finished midnight straight. You know what I mean? So that's how it is. But one thing I believe in Africa, there is life there. You can invest there. I have an uncle of mine, I had this story from a guy that I work with. I was actually sitting with him yesterday while we were eating lunchtime. So he was telling me like, there's an uncle of mine that you know him, I know him. He was working in Volvo. He worked. After a while, situation here, drama, he divorced, the kids, it was hard. So he focused on himself. So you know what? Kids are there for me. Once she's okay, I'm going to meet the kid, but I cannot eat myself. So he worked, he saved 700,000 kron. Wow. Once he done that, he moved to Zambia. So he started buying them big tractors, more farming. He bought that. He started doing business. So I just, he told me yesterday, he told me right now he's going back to China and he has like 3.5 million kron and he's going to do more investment with that. Wow. And he moved like 3 years ago.
And he never looked back again. It's like focused.
No. The only time he looks back, he comes here to see the kids.
Yeah.
So he decided, you know what? I'm here. I want to be here full time with the kids. If you don't want, I'm going to do 6 months here. I'm doing 6 months there.
That's
so because of the business going good, so he built them and he bought a house actually in Mombasa, a big house for the kids. Yeah? Just for them to have a good liquor holiday. And so he's more now Africa than and the kids every time right now they talk to him, they tell me, he was telling me yesterday, So he's telling the kids every time, Dad, when are you going to come? When are you going to take me? Come and take us. Come and take us.
Yeah, they want to go
So he's building his life, but same time he's building for his kids. And same time, why am I going to work for people when I can work for myself? He has a house, he has like water, it's like a well. It's clean water. He fixed it, put some chlorine on it. He has 7 acres there. He put up some farm a bit there. He has some kettles on the side. Electricity, solar. What else do you need? The ground is used. So what are you gonna pay more? So it's like, let's say it depends. Sometimes you pay a bit tax. It's not much per year. It's not much. Let's say like $100, $150, but he's living a life.
Enjoying life.
Enjoying life.
You wake up and you don't have that. When you touch back home, Africa, Caribbean, you just feel like you're out of the system, the European system, and you feel so free. And I'm home. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about things.
But you have to have confidence if you're in Africa. If you want to live there, if you want to move there, you have to have confidence. You cannot show yourself as a let's say like a foreigner or a person from diaspora. It makes you weak. People use
But they
you.
take the seat exactly.
People use you.
But that's the problem
don't get
too.
the
Is
same
that
prize.
you're going back there. They know that you're from the country, or you have family ties from there, and then you go back there and they treat you like you're a foreigner there. And yes, you are a foreigner. You might be a foreigner because you haven't been there consistently for 10 plus years or whatever. But they treat you even worse than they were treated.
No.
You understand?
But one thing I believe in is one thing.
Which is not good.
The more you're there,
Because
the
they
more
think you
learn.
have the money. They think you got money.
Do you know how many people I've seen actually every time when I travel to Kenya? I've traveled a lot, Do you know how many Mzungu means a white person, So how many white people I've seen, they've made their business there and they move.
They live in there.
They're living there, brother. They're having a good time, One thing I don't like about Kenya is one thing, It's like when you see a white man, he has more privilege than the others.
Well, that's that, mentality in Africa when they see a white person, a white man.
No, in Somalia.
Hey,
No, in Somalia.
Mr. White Man.
No, in Somalia.
They treat them better. You understand? I don't know. It's that the mindset, colonial mindset. The white man is here, he's going to save us. You understand? Like,
But certain places in Africa, let's say like Eritrea, Somalia, before Libya, you know what I mean?
Does a white man pay extra for certain things? Because in Ghana, for example, if you're going to go to certain attractions or stuff like that in Ghana, you have to pay, a white person is going to pay more money than a black
tourism.
person.
They need to make money out of it.
But the price sometimes is a little bit more, like double,
what
3 times the price.
That's why you need to learn yourself you need to learn yourself. So what I normally do is like, don't go on high season. Everything is expensive. So when people are back, go there. You get everything cheap, And once one thing about, let's say like us, African European, Black European, or let's say like other people from other places, when they go to, let's say, third world countries, they go, let's say, more to Africa. They always go to a tourist attraction. The more you mingle, the more you come inside with the people, the more you learn about. So me, I used to be a traveler before I had my kids, So when I used to travel, I used to go more into the ghettos, more into like small cities, more into the people. The more you learn about the culture. So that's why I can encourage these young people. Because these young people nowadays, when they travel, Colombia this, Spain this, you need to know about more
Venezuela,
about, you need to travel, know about history, go and check.
Go back to Africa instead of going to...
Go to Peru even.
Instead of going and...
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. At least, this new generation, it's like they know too much, but same time, they're not using it, Because everything is for them, technology-wise, very smart, this young generation.
I just want to ask you a quick question. You said third world countries. Why do we say third world country? Because I remember that was very big when we were growing up, like in the 90s and, the 80s and stuff like that, 80s, 90s. They came with that term third world, countries, and third world countries usually meant...
It's how big your passport is, obviously. Certain places, let's say like Japan, you have Sweden, certain places you don't pay visa, certain places you pay visa. Så as us, one thing that's actually... Hur ska man förklara, känns lite nedgräggande. Det är genom att man ser as Africans when we come to Europe, we have to do this, tax and everything, this and this. But for them, when they go there, everything's free for them. That's why you see right now, let's say, like, pick up for this woman right now. They call her nickname NN, the Triple N, the new president of Namibia. She's going to be the third.
What's her name, MM?
Triple N, her name.
Okay.
Mrs. Netumbo Nandi.
Okay.
So
Netumbo
one thing
Nandi.
about her is like, you see what's happened right now in West Africa, Burkina Faso, the Sahel region, and all how people are waking up right now. You see how we had our problems in Africa and we still have it. What happened to Gaddafi? What happened to before right now, Ibrahim Traore? We have like
Gaddafi trying to unify the whole of Africa. Like he wants to have one nation, one European like currency, like but for Africa. You understand? He was doing a lot.
Gaddafi was doing a lot, but at the same time, we had our freedom fighters, Lumumba, Sankara. What did they want? They wanted to to have their own minerals, to make something for their own country. But unlucky, the thing is that if you don't do this, we're going to kill you. How many times have we tried to kill him right now? Look what happened to, let's say, for an example, what happened to Thomas Sankara. You see the love they're giving to Ibrahim right now.
Yeah, again, a lot of love, man. Worldwide.
We already know, everybody knows what happened to Thomas Sankara and who killed him and how the money came. The right hand killed him. It happened right now with Ibrahim Traore. But, you know, they loved him too much. But no, we cannot take the money because they're seeing the difference. You know, if you see about the age gap, how we are here in Europe compared to in Africa. Africa, we're more younger. Here, the more older generation. Let's say like Italy, for an example. You see already here how it is. They don't make more babies. You know what I mean? So it's like the generation, they become older, they don't have no many people take care of them. Most of the small towns in Europe, empty. Here in Sweden as well, we have it here in Sweden.
No, but things have changed now. If you look at like, for example, when I was growing up and I was 8, 9, 10 years old, boy growing up, you know, we say 1990 or something like that, 91. Me looking at like a 50-year-old or 60-year-old, you know, or 70 or 80, they were like very kind of like old and not hip to the game. But these days, 50-year-old, 60 years old, they look good. They're training in the gym, they look well, they take care of themselves. You understand? And the funny thing is that people our age, like around for the 40s, you know, they're being like, if they have kids, you know, that are like 18, 19, 20, for example, they're being like granddads and grandmoms now. So grandmoms and granddads now in their 40s, you know, which wasn't happening, you know, when we were younger. You know, if you were a grandma or granddad, you were like 50 plus. Welcome back to the Dandada Show. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome back. We just had a quick break. We're back again. Where were we before?
We're talking about how 50, 60 years of age, how they're taking care of their health.
Absolutely.
How different it is compared to how our daddies used to be, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Different times.
Different times, you know. You can even see nowadays, even old African ladies around 50, 60 going to the gym, you know, start thinking, because you understand nowadays, you know, how we live in this life. How work it is, everything's so stressful, you know. You know, one thing as we Africans ourselves, you know, there's some things we actually have, let's say, like a bit taboo itself when it comes to mental health issues. We don't see that much into it. We say like, oh, somebody either is possessed or this. But actually,
demon, devil.
Yeah.
You know, we can pray away. You can go to the mosque or go to the imam, go to the priest, go to the pastor. You can pray away for you. But sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes you actually need to go and seek professional help. And to be medication.
But right now, we're in a time right now that we actually acknowledge it.
Absolutely.
We see a lot here in Europe. Not only here in Europe, even in Africa as well, you know.
Absolutely.
Africa, you don't see that much, but
Sweden, we have a very high suicide rate, actually, especially in the whole of Scandinavia. I don't actually have the figures with me, but Sweden has, I think, probably top 5, if not top 3, Sweden has suicide rates.
But why? Yeah. What do you think? Why? What do you know? What do you think about it?
I mean, Sweden has everything. I mean, you know, in terms of the social system in Sweden, you can never be homeless in Sweden. Never be homeless unless you decide that you want to be homeless.
Now you can be. It's different time right now. It's more harder right now. You're talking about housing. People is, du vet, så som jag växte upp här och hur det är nu. Det är så många byggnader de bygger. Och nu när de bygger nu, det är bara nya lägenheter. Hyran blir dyrare. Och om man tänker man bor i en nybyggnad, alltså hyresrätt till och med, även om du bostadsrätt du ska köpa. Du vet, inflationen kommer, allting har blivit dyrare. Du vet, du märker med den lönen vi får och allting, det blir inte tillräckligt så som det var innan. Du vet, en gång förr i tiden när vi 2000, 2002, 2003, 20 000 var ganska mycket. Men nu 20 000 är inte heller lika mycket, du vet. Till och med när jag växte upp, när jag var liten, 20 kronor, jag kunde köpa jättemycket grejer här i Sverige.
Ja, absolut. Alltså, men nu, alltså jag tror att 2020 allting har förändrat på grund av covid. Först och främst, vi fick den covid-grejen Så allting i kup och folk börjar köpa mer och mer toalettpapper i alla fall.
You know one thing when it comes to inflation, med det här med, vi pratar om just nu när det kommer till det som händer med corona och allt detta. Vi lever i en tid, det som är dåligt, folk känner på det. Det som är bra, folk känner på det. Så man har mer dåligt som händer i den här världen. Och ju mer det händer, ju mer vissa folk tjänar pengar på det. One thing I can say about myself right now, I took the vaccination itself due to I couldn't move. Yeah, I had to, brother.
How many times?
I took actually 2 of them, but I took only Pfizer. But I didn't want to take it.
I didn't take it,
but I didn't want to take it.
Because I didn't get not because I didn't want to take it because I didn't have the information that I needed to take it, and they were forcing me for my kids to take it as well. And I said no at the time that they were not going to take it as well until we get more information.
You know, one thing I can say, I regret it, but one thing I can say, I didn't have no option that time because I had to travel. You couldn't travel with that one. So I had to take it in because I had to go back home. I have
I remember.
I have a mom back.
You couldn't go to America. America wouldn't put anyone in the country that wasn't vaccinated.
No. Same as well when I was heading to Kenya, you couldn't go. You have to have that. You have to have that. You have to show it proof. You have to show it. But right now they've changed because I remember once you go to the certain places, let's say in Africa, let's say in Asia, you have like yellow fever.
Yeah.
So you have to have like a check for that one. You have to like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah. Then you have to take it again.
I have to take it again. But right now in Kenya, actually they stop with it.
Oh, so you don't.
You don't need to have that card with you as long as you know that you. No, so
but it's good to take it anyway, no?
It's a must,
if you're coming from
it's
Europe?
a must, obviously, it's a must.
Yeah.
You know, let's say for an example, I had like a family member of mine who went with us and she went part-time to Africa. She never been to Africa.
Yeah.
But her body, alltså hon reagerade. Reaktionen, solen är starkare. Hon blev mer sjuk. Hon fick eksem. Så, men när hon gick andra, tredje gånger, hon blir bättre. Same like me, you know. We like used to the food. Yeah, same like me. Even though I've been a lot in Africa, but I'm more here as well. I'm used to this food. The fridge, freezer, you know, the Swedish thing here, you cook food, you put it 3 days because you want to have, you know what I mean? So you have that, but there you have everything fresh. So every time when I go back home, guess what happens to me? First 2 days, I got problem with my stomach, bro. Constipation, I can't even go.
You're not used to that.
So once, you know what I do then? I start eating fruits, papaya, natural stuff. Then everything, within 4 or 5 days, I become like them. Then I can go to normal restaurant. I mean, I don't go to fancy restaurants, you know. I normally like going, I can go, but I prefer going to them. Local ones. Okay. Best ones, you know. Okay. No, I'm talking about the money itself. I'm talking about taste. You know, if you want to know about the culture, if you want to know...
To get with the people.
With the people, that's the best way, you know.
Absolutely. We didn't finish talking about the high suicide rate in Sweden or Scandinavia. I think you asked me and...
Yeah, because I wanted to say one thing because of that, you know. It's because, you know, why we're going through what we're going through here in Sweden. But you know what? That everything brings...
But why people still kill themselves?
I'll tell you right now.
They got bigger TV, bigger cars.
I'll tell you why, brother. It's lonely.
Have money, yeah.
It's loneliness. You know, we live in Sweden. We live in Sweden where...
In Swedish we call that ensamhet.
Ensamhet, såklart. Du vet, man lever i en tid här i Sverige där man ser, du vet hur vi är i det här samhället. När barnen blir 20-18 år flyttar hemifrån. Så mamma och pappa gör detta och sen de flyttar hemifrån, de sköter sitt liv. Sen de sköter sitt liv när de får hjälp av mamma och pappa. Men de är inte där, de syns inte lika mycket, bara högtider. Christmas, det här de träffas. Men vad händer senare när själva pappan och mamman blir äldre? Sonen är inte där, barnen är inte där. De tänker, men jag har mitt liv. Personen har sitt liv. Du vet. Så vi lever i den tiden. Let's say an example. We have a saying here in Sweden, you know. It's like, before I go out from my door, I need to go and look on that, you know. Once I go look on that and I see somebody walking, I'm waiting. Because you don't want to bump into your neighbor. I live in a place right now, my brother lives there, you know, so I've known his neighbor since 2009-10. I know most of the time when I'm about, it's just like the easy thing we say in Sweden, hey, you're done, you're gone.
Hello.
That's it. There's nothing more, hi, how you doing, more, do you out, bro? No, just easy, hi, you're gone. You know, people become more like social here once the sun comes up, you know. That's what we say here, you know. There's a saying, you know, I can make it as a joke, you know. There's a saying, you know, there's a foreigner come to this country, you know. First summertime is here, so he's used to sun, you know. So it's like, why people closing their eyes and looking up, you know. So he's shocked, you know. Second year, seeing some people chilling, relaxing in the park, you know, closing their eyes and looking up, you know. Third year, man, he became like them, you know, close his eyes, start sunning and using the sun cream and that, you know. But if you say about själva solstrålen och själva hur solen har, den är mycket starkare här jämfört med faktiskt i Afrika. Jag är från ekvatorn, så ekvatorn går ändå igenom där. Så man märker solstrålen, det är ändå mer starkare mot hitåt när det kommer. Så jag förstår.
Men vi har bara alltså, en månad.
2 månader, jag vet. Men den här solen är skadlig, kan man säga.
So the fact
we as foreigners, especially we Africans, we have one issue. The issue is like when it comes to winter time, because we don't see that much sun, so it means like we have to take more vitamins.
Absolutely. Vitamin D, guys, we need to take it. And I think more people need to take it around the world, but especially in Sweden, because people really get depressed. And in Swedish, they have a word for everything.
Everything, I know.
Where's the word in Swedish when they call it winter depression? You know, when people are depressed under the winter time. Vinterdepression.
Ja, det är som du sa, vinterdepression. Det är den, alla hamnar på det.
Yeah.
Men det är det, du vet, när man är under vintertid.
It's dark and stuff, people get more depressed. And I think that, you know, being in a warm country definitely makes, you know, having sun, makes you feel more happy. You know,
energetic.
Give you energy, give you life.
Charge, you know, recharge. It's true.
You know what I mean?
But, you know, by age, you know, when I was young, you know, I never used to take the stuff, you know, vitamins and stuff, you know. But once you get a bit more age, start catching up onto you, that's why you start feeling, you know. Because when it comes to winter time, I become more like tired.
No, but you need to take your
so you need to take that, Be calcium,
iron.
You know what I
mean? Multivitamin and stuff like that.
But we as Africans, or let's say like we actually bad on that. So we in that generation, that me and you, our generation, we start thinking more about our health. We eat proper, we rest more, you know what I mean?
You want to have a long life. If you want to, you know, have a long life, you know, you have to do that. So you can be here to see your grandkids and enjoy life. You know?
That's why you see, like we said before, this 50 years of age, people are 10 years older than us. And like that, you see how they're fit and they start thinking more, they love themselves more right now.
Take care of themselves, you know. They you know, 50, 60, 60-year-old, they look good.
But we live in a monopole country where everything's controlled. We say like alcohol itself, you know how it is here, you know, when you buy
just for the viewers that don't know, in Sweden, the government has a monopoly on the alcohol
basically everything
here, and there is a place called the Systembolaget, where it's basically a government-owned shop where you can only buy alcohol from there. It's not like in London where you can go to, you know, any
package shop, you know,
shop or supermarket,
exactly.
Pick up a 6-pack or something. You know what I mean? Here it's controlled by the government. You know, but still, there's a lot of alcoholism.
A lot.
You know, drink too much.
A lot.
Big problem in Sweden.
A lot.
People drinking themselves.
People are depressed actually more here, you know. Yeah. If we see most of the people here, especially, let's say, more men.
Yeah.
I've never seen before, you know, more foreigners taking more antidepressant medicines. We never used to do that in our, let's say, like them above us, you know, old generation. But in our time, as me and you, we cannot help it because how system makes us, you know. Once you look for the help, so the only thing they pop up with is like more medicine, pop it up.
2 tablets, 3 tablets. You know, I have a brother of mine, you know, that came from Africa and he came here, you know, and when he first came to Sweden, he was strong and fit and not taking any type of medicines and stuff. But after 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of being here in Sweden, he started taking 20 tablets a day. 20 tablets a day.
I'm telling you, just to
get. When he first came here, he was strong.
Just to get on with life, you know.
And to the end, he's taking 20 tablets a day. What is that? Is that living life?
I'm telling you.
You can't function with it.
But you know what I believe in is like once you start, once you have normal headache, cough, and all that, we have like the more remedies,
Natural
some
remedies.
garlic, some,
Absolutely.
The more we know about that more. So the more we continue with that one, the more we're going to control our health.
Yeah.
But the more we start running and we go more to that pharmaceutical, the more we're going to have our problem. You see, most of this white people here out there, once they become 50, 60, it's too much complication, this, you know what I mean? So it's because of the medicine,
Absolutely, I totally agree. You shouldn't have to rely on the medicine like to
If
get
you-
by. If you don't have some type of really bad disease or something, obviously if you have a specific disease or something, you need to take the medicine and tablets. That's something else. But I mean, coming here. And from Africa, you came here, you wasn't taking any tablets, and then you're on 20 tablets a day after 25 years. It's mad.
But that's why you see how it is when it comes to this Swedish people right now. They're more like natural, start eating good food. Why people are becoming more and more vegetarian? You know what I mean? Because they see what's wrong with the food right now.
Right, but we have too many chemicals in the food in Europe, especially in America, but definitely in Europe. The chemicals that we have in our food that they inject in the chicken and the meats and stuff, and it's not everywhere. But I'm saying we have chemicals in our food. It's not
Yeah, it's true. But one thing, I can make it like a joke in a way. But if you see, me, I was born in Africa. I grew up here, So I'm used to this food, but I'm more used to home food because once you're home, you cook your food, everything. But one thing I can say is like if you see these people, generations that are born in this country, they're big. Why? Pedigree. Now the food is different, So it makes them more, blow up, But me, since I was young until now, I feel,
that big.
I'm still safe,
Baby.
Yeah. So that's the thing, that's the thing,
Shout out to Biggie, we love it.
So the thing is that if you see yourself, you have everything right now on internet, what you want to eat, how you can eat, what's for what, this food is for what. You have like, let's say, Dr. Sebi, you can, if you want to search, information is there.
It's there. You just have to do your research and your due diligence.
Exactly.
So, absolutely. So to kind of conclude on comparing the quality of life in Europe and back in homeland, what would be your conclusion if you was to sum it up?
Everywhere you go, you always have to have like, let's say like, hur ska man säga, allting har sina negativa och positiva sida. One thing about Africa compared to here is a bit, it's not like more safer right now compared to before, because it happens things in Sweden, already what's happening here, But the thing is that it's just like if we have something called also säkerhet, security back home, I'm telling you, it'll be one of the best places you can be, You know what I mean? One thing that I have a bit negative about Africa itself is because of corruption. One thing about we Africans need to change ourselves is like, here, once I go to a shop or wants to go and buy something, it goes through only one person. But when I go to Africa, I want to buy something, how many dealers are there,
Yeah.
He has to eat. So it's something that we need to change on that, Like back home when they
But
say...
Africa's had plenty, and I don't want to go into this, it's a very big time, but I'm just saying, Africa's had plenty time to get Africa right. I mean, Africa as a continent.
But how
has had
can we
plenty
make it-
time from colonialism to now. So we can't keep on blaming.
No, but what I'm saying is that
understand?
we need to change ourselves
I
as
agree with you.
Africans.
I agree with you.
I mean, that's something handling money. It ain't gonna help that person, It's like they say, like people here in Europe, what you normally say here. It's not like money grows on trees, But people back home, once they help, you help them, but it's like more help. The capital that the person is giving you, try to eat and try to make something out of it. But people are used to, Africa is like, let's say, like, once I eat this plate, I need a new one. So you need to work for the new one. People do that, but some people, I'm talking about through experience. So, sometimes it's good by helping people. The people who are in need, but there are certain people who actually need to do better. for them to fix themselves so they can help the ones who are here. But they're more
Sometimes
dependent.
it's about teaching somebody how to fish instead of all the time giving them the fish. Here you go, here's the fish, here's the fish. Teach them how to be able to have the necessary skills to do better, so that they can help themselves and their families.
I can give you as an example what happened right now with this tariff, what's happened with the US aid. A lot of things have been Western people have been helping Africa, but it hasn't gone through the right way. Let's say like Sweden gives 20 million to Kenya right now. So before it even comes to the project itself, let's say more than half of it is gone. You know what I mean? That's why you see China a lot in Africa right now. Because once they sign them deals and they do that, they build it and they make it right. Because we African, let's say like we're building a road right now. You put cement, you put a lot of sand. Next, let's say like within some couple of time, what's going to happen? The road ain't going to be same. Because you haven't done it correctly.
Correctly, yeah.
So it's just like in that kind of way.
Okay, so you kind of conclude, you feel like Africa or people in home countries, their governments have to do better, so that the people who want to return back to their country have the available resources and stuff.
But Africa needs to change by become more patriotism first. You need to think about their more country first. Like what you dealing before you import stuff, try to think about you export. Try to first think about the country, the people. Once you know what you can do with that country, with the capital and everything, then you can start thinking about investment. So exactly that's what I believe right now what's happening in Britain. Because if you see on the social media, everybody's saying he's the president of Africa, because they want, even me myself, I want him to be president of Somalia or maybe Kenya, because we want those kind of leaders. Unfortunately, strong leader who can say against. You know what I mean?
So the quality of life obviously in Europe is not the same like in Africa. Quality of life is better in Africa.
Right now, much better. If you see, let's say like people are talking about, we talked about third world country. People are talking about right now, if you see America, certain places, Philadelphia, it's like, it looks more, it's more like a third world country right now.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely.
And you know when people...
Americans are moving back to Africa now.
You know what? People still have that mentality about Africa. It's like people still living in huts. People that
flies all over there.
People, but it's different. Wow, we see Nairobi itself. Nairobi is the only city which has a national park inside Nairobi itself. So
I've heard about that a lot, actually. I really would like to.
If you see Ethiopia, Tanzania, even Rwanda, we're talking about Nigeria, Ghana. If you go to center, you got tall buildings, skyscrapers. People think like that. If you see even certain people, the Americans and the British, even you ask them, what's the capital city of Africa? They don't know. They think Africa itself is all country, So they don't know which part. They don't know much, because we educated through our way, but they're not that.
No, they have, 50 states or whatever.
Still, they have
their 50 states, is that 50 countries, So
and 54, but it's more like the splitting more. So that's the thing,
Absolutely. Okay, well, what we're going to do is switch lanes right now. Let's talk a little bit about men and women in 2025. The rise of red pill and blue pill, and people like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit. There's so many others. And, the positives and negatives. And maybe, if you can, a little bit about feminism and how things have changed. So it's a lot to take in. Maybe if you can just summarize it a little grand. I'm speaking Swedish a little bit, so I can get your thoughts.
I can only say one thing, women in Europe, we became more smarter right now. Women, vi har hur ska man förklara, vi har det tufft just nu jämfört med hur vi får genom systemet, det har blivit tuffare, genom familj, det har blivit mycket tuffare, vi har inte så mycket säg längre, varenda liten grej som kommer ut från våra mun, vi måste vara jätteförsiktiga. Men jag vill påpeka och ta upp någonting som är viktigt, oavsett vad vi män går igenom. One thing you should have understand about women generally and their Alltså, hur ska man förklara om hur de är själva som kvinnor? Du vet, kommer från en del där vi faktiskt empower a woman. So instead of talking bad about women, myself, I have daughters, so I cannot say something bad about my past or something like that because I need to protect. Like you said, for example.
As well, so
exactly.
We want our daughters to be strong, powerful, empowered.
Exactly.
Young ladies growing up. We don't want to trycka ner dem, att de ska känna sig
I believe in one thing, charity begins at home.
Pressad som andra männen och sånt.
Charity begins at home, I believe in one thing. Another thing which I believe in is right now, we actually lack it right now. Our women, especially Europe, lack it a lot, is because something called tålamod. Finns inte patience. Tålamod. Like how our moms used to be. They're like superwoman for me. De kunde göra allt. Men i dagsläget tyvärr. I dagsläget, låt oss säga man är så, man kommer till en tid där du vet, okej, kvinnan jobbar, mannen jobbar. It's not like back home. Back home, he is like, okay, the one that feminists want 50-50. We give you that 50-50. But the thing is that deal with your responsibility. But unfortunately, we live in a time where people are...
Sorry to cut you off, but do you think that a woman can also, she's work, have a job, the same like the man is working as well, and then come home and start cooking and cleaning as well?
I believe in 50-50, as I told you. We live in Europe. It's not like back home we live in. Because one thing about different back home...
Some men that are here, but especially black men, African men, that want to run their household like it's, the woman is like some type of slave, which is wrong.
One thing you have to understand. Back home... Back home. No. So I can just make it easy for you. Back home, if you see how women are, and they have, one thing, du måste också förstå det att alltså, där du har dina mostrar, fastrar, du får hjälp. It's not only mother doing everything. You have grandmothers, and we have, like having here, like vi har ålderdomshem, vi tar hand om våra förfäder. Förstår du vad jag menar? Men de är hemma och de är fortfarande, if you see a mom or grandmother who's 80, she still can run. You can see she's carrying the water.
Yeah, they put the grandma in a hole.
But that's what I want to come into that. But here is different because a man needs to step up. What I mean is like a woman cannot do everything. Let's say like right now, I'm with my woman and we have kids. She works daytime, I'm working evening time. So once she works daytime, she goes, I wake up in the morning, I prepare, I make food, I do certain stuff, then I go to work. So I make her life a bit easy when she comes home, so she can prepare for the kids. And she know, the food is done, he has done this and that this. So we need to help each other. But the thing is that, partnership. But the thing is that, unfortunately here in Europe, det blir svårt för en kvinna att kunna ha den orken och hålla på med det i längden. En kvinna kan vara gift med dig 5-10 år, 15 år, men hon kommer bli trött. Ja, men det är inte hennes fel heller. Förstår du? Det är systemet, men det är också det som man. Du måste kunna förstå din kvinna. Du måste kunna förstå, okej, hon går igenom en viss period. Okej, prata inte med henne. You need to know when to talk to a woman, when to back up, when to be on her side. But right now...
Yeah, but most especially young men growing up don't know this. And that's why we've had the kind of rise of men vs women and Andrew Tate. And I like Andrew Tate. I like a lot of what he says. Some of the stuff he's talking a bit crazy.
I don't want to come too deep into that. I don't want to come too deep. I have my both negative and negative talk about him, but I don't want to come much into it. But one thing I believe in is that when it comes to en man och en kvinna, vi är inte samma. Vi är inte samma. Vi ska kunna klara av att bli starkare, men tyvärr vi lever i en tid där vi män har blivit så osäkra av oss själva. Even you can see a guy right now, you hear something like asexual, I'm asexual. I mean, done nothing for a while, They become proud of that because they don't want to have headache. This young generation, there's a saying I say, there's a saying, there's a song with my mind say, it's a man's world. You can do nothing within a man or a girl. But when it comes to, we are another time right now, Beyonce, so woman run this. Like you're saying, woman run this one. And it's true, It's true. But what I believe in is you yourself, how you are to a woman. Because if you empower her, for her to do that to you, it's going to happen to you. But if you become strong on yourself and believe in yourself and know your own value, how you want to see as a woman. Because the thing is that, unfortunately, we live in a time you see a woman as we used to see women as object. Wow, she got that nice, she got this. But then, you know, once you grow up and you have your own responsibility, you see them different because you see that responsibility.
Absolutely.
So you want to actually empower the younger ones for them to become better. But you see this young generation, these young boys right now, they're more selfish in a very good way. They're like, why am I going to waste money on this woman and do this and this? Or she's going to end up leaving me. So I'm going to save it. Let me save money. Let me go and buy myself a car. Or let me save within 1 year. Oh, me and my boys, we're going to go to Colombia, we're going to go this. So they become more like in that kind of sense because they found out that this life that I'm living with this woman, if she's a good woman, I need to have a longer relationship with her without me knowing it. Because Rome wasn't built in one day, brother.
No.
It takes time to know somebody.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So very, very good advice for people out there, you know. Take your time, understand and know the partner, the woman that you have, you know, and you have to work together to be able to make your relationship work. Rome was not built in a day. It takes time. Cool down, slow down, understand your woman, you know what I mean? And it shouldn't be about women vs men, you know? We both need each other. We have only two sexes. We have a woman and we have a man.
You know, one thing I believe in when it comes to a woman.
Some people say there's more.
You know, you can be loved, you kan du kan bli förälskad, du kan bli förkrossad med ditt hjärta. Men det där är en progress, du måste kunna lära dig. For one thing, you can never look back and say, oh, my baby mother did this. Oh, I cannot trust a woman. You always have to learn. You know what I mean? Okay, I went through that way. Next person I'm going through, I've learned through that way. I want to make it better. If I can't find one, let me live and find myself first.
Be alone.
Take some time.
You don't always have to be from one woman to another. You take your time, take that time alone just to relax, clear your mind, you know. Go for long walks, maybe go into the gym if you like training in the gym. Do whatever hobby
go camping, like. Go do something, brother.
Go out in the mountains, you know, like Moses.
You know, when it comes to the Hakimi effect, the thing with the Hakim, you know, about the situation, people are more afraid or taking half. Because we live in a place here in Sweden, let's say like I live in an apartment, let's say like Mimbosos Retto. And I live there and I come with a woman. I put everything on the house. And plus later a woman comes to me, she sees my situation. She says, well, he owns the house, he owns this. Let me live with this guy. And then, I'm having baby with that guy. And then for a while, I'm tired. So she takes more than half of which is yours, you know. So people right now, men have become more smarter right now. They become more like, hur ska man säga, mer vaksamma, de ser mer, de tänker lite mer, de backar. Du vet, folk har blivit krossade, I can't lie. Jag också har blivit krossad. Men jag är som person, du vet, som man. Det är så här, om det händer någonting, just pick up yourself. You know what they say? It's better for you to sleep. Det är enklare för dig att halka än att ramla helt. För när du halkar, du får den här stöden. Du kan komma upp direkt upp och fortsätta. Men när du ramlar helt med rumpan, det blir svårt för dig att komma upp.
So basically, in English, it's better for you to kind of like slip, then fall down on your bum. You know what I mean? Then you won't be able to get back up again, or you will be able to get back up, but it'll be much harder.
It's much harder, exactly.
Absolutely. So, wow, thank you so much, my Ak Elmi, for having this interview.
Bless you, bro.
I really appreciate that. I know that. You know, you've definitely given me and our viewers definitely gems on how we can be better, looking at ourselves, the responsibilities that we have as individuals and as a race and a group of people, you know, and as humans as well, you know. Sure. It's not just, this is not like a black or a white thing. This is about the whole of humanity.
Thank you. We live in a time that you see, you know, in our generation. When I was young, you know, I used to have role models, you know. When I used to do something bad, you know, then all the generations to come to me, hey, what are you doing, bro? This is not good, stop it. But right now, I'm in a time where my younger generation, I can't even say nothing to them, So once I look at them, I'm afraid.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different, I'm afraid. It's like I'm more selfish more to myself. I'm thinking more to myself. Right now, there's a time even as me, even though what I've been through, I had my time, but I'm more like, I don't want to even go out no more, It's like, you see what's happening in Sweden. Too much shooting, too much bomb stuff, a lot, And guess who's actually losing? This young generation, 14, 15 years of age. That's his life. That's his life starting.
Sadly, but it's happening in London too.
Too much shanking and that, but right now it's 14, too much shooting as well.
15,
I know.
Stabbing.
I know. Before it used to be stabbing.
All of this rubbish that I don't really think half of these people want to do, but peer pressure and stuff plays a lot. Plays a big role these days. It's different times.
But you live in a time that nowadays the parents don't even know what to do. The parents even go to the police station, go to the social people. I need help, I need this. But when it comes to the help they're going to get, it's already too late. Your son is dead. It happened a lot here in Sweden.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree.
So it's kind of sad. I live in a time, especially when we live in Sweden, we have daughters. Here in Sweden, forget about suicide when it comes to kids, and I'm talking about rape for the kids. It's worse here compared to other places in Europe. You know that? It's one of the highest here.
Oh, wow.
The pedophile I'm talking about. Here in Sweden. Much more higher compared to other places like in UK. Like in Eastern Bloc of Europe. Here is a lot. I don't know. It's sickness. But I'm more afraid right now.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Even in school right now, let's say in America.
Many women here have been sexually assaulted. And it's terrible, and I feel so bad for them. Men need to be able to control themselves, and to the young men out there.
But we're talking about more. We don't have that as foreigners here in Sweden.
No.
So it's like more.
But the young men, if a woman says no, she means no.
Oh,
she says no. You stop. You understand? And young men, you have to control yourself. That's why. Going to the gym or having a hobby or doing something is good for you and good for your mind. Do some coding, IT, something. Take your mind out of that and be.
But I believe in one thing when it comes to, if I give a message to the young generation right now, it's like focus on yourself, Because we live in a time here in Sweden where you have like a lady who's from one of the members of parliament here. She's saying that when you meet a woman, even before you meet her, you're already a rapist. So we live in that time right now, So
we men, we really don't have really much rights, to be honest. And there's a lot of women that abuse that, which is not good at all. And that's going down a whole nother.
But how can you do that by empowering this young men generation? By how? You know how
they
it
need
is.
to have male figures around them.
Thank you. That's what we lack.
Father figures.
That's what we lack. That's what we lack. I had it when I was young. I had role models, people that I grew up with are older than me. Elmi, don't do this. Elmi, don't go with that girl, That girl is this, that girl that. But right now, there's none for them.
None.
There's none.
Absolutely.
Even when I try to talk to them, the anger, how they talk, I back up,
And they think, du är gammal.
Det är det, så det är det. Men det handlar inte om att du är gammal, det handlar om sättet de pratar. De blir för uppkäftiga. Man backar själv. Kolla, jag själv, jag som är uppvuxen i det här landet och jag som är mörkhyad. Och när jag är ute, jag kollar. Det alltid måste finnas en baktanke om mig när jag går. Sen när jag börjar prata, det är då de tänker, okej, den här personen är annorlunda, den här personen är så. Så it's like... Så för mig, jag har lärt mig bättre över tid. Ju mindre cirkel du har, desto bättre du lever i det här landet.
Absolutely. What do you think about, have you got any messages that you want to say?
Not much, but what I can say is like, we live in a time right now where it's kind of hard, but one thing which is important in this time we are right now, when you have a goal, even though it comes different obstacles due to what we're going through in this world, keep on going and keeping having a dream of that goal that you want, which is very important, And not only that, when you try to upgrade yourself, don't get locked up into one thing. Always have like hur ska man förklara? Man måste kunna ha olika perspektiv om i livet tänker. Du vet, om du har ett mål, fastna inte bara på ett mål. Fastna på andra mål, olika. Du vet, vi kommer alltid ha distraktioner. Kolla vad som händer i det här landet. Inflationen, det här, varje år det händer någonting. Skjutningar. Nästa år vi kommer ha, det blir val igen i Sverige. Vilket hela det här landet väntar på. För folk har inte blivit nöjda sistone hur det pågår i det här landet. Men det är så här, utifrån vad som sker runt omkring det här landet. Du måste ha själv ditt eget mål. Och det är jätteviktigt. Man kommer till en viss tid just nu, som jag och du, vi är 40 år nu. Vi har barn, vi har ansvar. Det känns som vi är slavar hela tiden. Vi jobbar, kommer hem, går och tränar, går och gör det här, planerar. Men det är jätteviktigt att du ska fortsätta ha en dröm om ditt mål. Och den drömmen måste du uppfylla. För du gör inte det för dig själv. Du har också, låt oss säga, vi har ursprung, vi har barn att tänka på. Så för att kunna du själv visar, inte bara för att barnen ser detta, men för dig och för folket i samhället. Se vem du är. Vi behöver sådana människor nu. För vi lever i en tid där alla får instängda. Alla vet inte vad de vill. Alla är för osäkra. Du vet, för att till och med ibland när jag träffar dig och jag som känner dig bra, I've known you too long, brother. But sometimes when I see you, sometimes like I'm neglecting you. I'm doing this. You know, it's too much in here right now what people are going through. So the most important thing, love yourself first and always have a goal in life.
Wow.
That's my message anyway.
Love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And you know...
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been really, really good. I feel like we've spoken about so many different topics. And next time, I hope that I can have you next time on the show.
Yeah. If you invite me, I'm always welcome, brother. Always. You know, sometimes for us as well, men, in this generation, me and you, our generation, sometimes we need to have that, you know. We need to have like a group itself, talk about it, even not only for the world to see, but for ourselves. It's a self-healing itself, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? We live in a time where in this country where people are too much lonely, people don't express themselves. We have that generation because 80s, 90s, but the more time goes, the more harder it is. But don't forget yourself, you know, and be proud of yourself as well. It's very important, you know.
Amen. Be proud of yourself. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget to love one another.
Exactly.
And help one another. And, you know, God is love.
God is love. And don't forget, just a smile itself is a blessing as well, you know.
Amen. Thank you, Ak.
Bless you,
my
bro.
Aki, Elmi. Thank you for being here on the Dundada show. It's been a blessing, and you know, we hope to see you next time, you know, on the Dundada show.
It took a while, you know.
Yeah, man. You know.
But now I'm here. Now we're done, yeah, finally, brother.
Finally, yeah. We're done. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Dundada Show. Peace and love. We out.
We are blessed.
We out.